Hi everyone, welcome back to JoanneTechLover. I'm Joanne and today I will be unveiling this Phanteks Enthoo Pro full tower computer case. This is the split window version and it's just such a great deal for the price. You know, this is a very good value case. However, on Amazon, they raised the price from like 99 bucks to like 140, but on Newegg, I believe you could still get it for $99.99. And the features. Let's see what you get in the accessory box, shall we? So inside you get a user guide. I recommend that you flip through this because this tells you pretty much everything you'll need to know to install components in this case, as well as take it apart, and it'll be so fun to take it apart for you later on in this video. And what else do you get? This is a reservoir bracket. It mounts onto your hard drive cages if you decide to go that route. And you even get a toolbox. I kind of broke the little piece here, but let's take a quick look inside. I love that it is compartmentalized. You get your mounting screws, your fan screws, you know, just all for your hardware installation. And also, you get some zip ties as well as Velcro ties. What I love about what Phanteks has done with this case is provided you with plenty of Velcro ties. Here's a 360 look at the case. Comes with this steel body, and at the front, it looks like brushed metal, doesn't it? But it is actually plastic, but it still maintains that very classy appearance. Now, let me just turn it a little bit to this side. You will notice that there are vent holes on this edge, as well as ventilation holes along the opposite edge. And mesh grill here for where the front 200 Phanteks SP fan is. Now let's start off with dimensions first. So this case measures 9.2 inches wide or 235 millimeters and 21 inches tall or 535 millimeters and 21.6 inches deep or 550 millimeters. And it weighs in at 26.2 pounds or 11.8 kilograms, which isn't all too heavy, but once you put all those components in there, it will be kind of heavy. Alright, let's start off at the top of the case. And I want to go over this area first. So you might think, oh, you get 4 or 5¼ inch bays, but actually this top cover houses your ports. So what do you get? You get 2 USB 3, 2 USB 2, your headphone mic jacks, and your reset button. The top button will be on the top, and I'll show you that in just a bit. So 3 5¼ inch drive bays, and like I said, below that the fan. Now I'm gonna go ahead and open up the front panel. Oh, there is also a dust filter here, but for some odd reason, it is really hard to take off, except for from the bottom. So that is one gripe I have with this, but I'm gonna go ahead and remove the front panel. So, one moment, there we go. And here is a look on the other side. But here's the front panel. You could remove the dust filter too. There's another one here just by undoing these notches. And you could take off your 5¼ inch bay cover by pinching these two sides in. Give me one moment. There we go. And here is the bay cover. Now here's a closer look at the 200 millimeter fan. It spins at 850 RPM with a CFM of 110.1 and it's 25 decibels. Now, if you don't wish to have the 200 millimeter fan, you could install 2 120s or 2 140 millimeter fans, or include a radiator of up to 240 millimeters and up to 30 millimeters thick, but that's with the bays installed behind it. So here's the front dust filter that I was talking about earlier. Slides out much easier when the front cover isn't installed, which is very odd because you should be able to take it out with the front cover intact. Now let's move straight along. On this side, you do get the split window display, one to look at your components and one to partially hide your drive bay, although there is a piece of material here to cover it anyway, and shows the Phanteks logo right there. Very nice. I always like windows that can show me all of my components. Here's a look at the rear of the case, and over here is your knockout for your I/O shield of your motherboard. And next to that, you do get some honeycomb ventilation for where the pre-installed 140mm Phanteks SP fan is. This runs at an RPM of 1200 and it's 82.1 CFM at 19 decibels. And you'll notice that you do get a mounting point for a 120mm fan as well. But what's cool about this setup is that these are kind of like a long slot-like fan mounts, because you can go ahead and orient your fan higher or lower depending on where you want to direct your airflow, and this is always a plus. So this is like a really cool feature. And below that you do get some more ventilation holes, 8 expansion slots, and at the very bottom is your power supply mount. There's also a dust filter on the very bottom, so let me take that out for you. Ta-da! Last side before I move on to the top of the case is just a very clean side panel. Here at the top of the case, you'll notice this long stretch of a mesh grill for your cooling, although they haven't included any fans or anything for you, but the potential for cooling is really amazing. So let's turn it over to this side, and this is your power button, large power button right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove the top cover, so it's just a matter of pulling. There it is. Wasn't too difficult, but I believe you should remove the front before you take off the top. And there's even another dust filter, but although this one is a little bit harder to take off, I believe. Or maybe you shouldn't, and you should just clean it by removing the top cover. Here's a look with the top cover off, and as you can see, there are plenty of mounting points. So here are your options. You can include or install 3 120mm fans, 3 140mm fans, or 1 200mm fan. And as for the radiator potential, you can install a radiator of up to 360mm or 420mm. That is massive water cooling potential right there, and it's just so awesome. But let's go ahead and move to the bottom of the case, shall we? On the bottom of the case, you'll notice these 6 raised feet with rubber padding on the bottom of each. It's to help improve your airflow at the height, as well as help reduce some of the vibrations. And also, you get these ginormous honeycomb ventilation holes right here. And as for the mounting points, you can install 2 120mm fans, or 1 140mm fan, or a radiator up to 240mm or 140mm. I've removed the 2 thumb screws, so we can go ahead and take off the right side panel. And what's kind of cool about these thumb screws is that they come with this kind of rubberized washer piece here. More for sound dampening, I suppose. Alrighty, and let's go ahead and remove this panel. You do not slide it. You go ahead and just remove it by opening it up. And here's a look at the other side. And this is one thing I do kind of not like about this, is that kind of, jiggles, and you kind of hear this metal jangling sound whenever you are moving the table or whatnot, and I don't really like that. Alrighty, so now on the inside, you do get this large cutout for your aftermarket heatsink cooler, and I do like that the edges are tapered so that you don't end up cutting yourself all that. I mean, there is a lot of quality that went into this case, and for like $100, that is so worth it. And you also get about 27 millimeters of space behind the motherboard tray to route your cables, as well as to clean them up. And you'll notice that in a lot of the tie-down points, they've included for you these Phanteks Velcro ties. And Velcro ties are really great at cleaning up cables because they don't break easily, and you can keep reusing them, unlike twist ties or whatnot, and zip ties. So, also, as for motherboard compatibility, it's compatible with Micro-ATX, ATX, E-ATX, which is extended, as well as SSI EEB server motherboards. I mean, that's what they are. And on this side is a mounting point with a bracket for a 2.5-inch drive. So let's say you didn't want to use any of these drives here, you could just go ahead and take out the cages and then just mount a 2.5-inch drive. But they also have a mounting point for a 2.5-inch drive down here at the bottom. And what I don't understand is why they didn't include a second bracket for it. It would have been nice if it was in the accessory section. And it's really easy to mount too. So go ahead and just push up. It's kind of the slide and lock mechanism. And mount your 2.5-inch drive, and then go ahead and slide it back down. And boom, it locks into place. And it's also, pretty, not permanent setup, but it's pretty sturdy. Now, oh, they've also included for you these rubber grommets, and these are pretty thick because I've seen some of the even more pricier cases with these kind of like flimsy rubberized grommet, and then, you know, just comes off every time you put cables through. But this is really nice, and they've included it up here as well. And this is the area, of course, you plug in your CPU connector, as well as some all along here. But they've already cleaned up some of these cables for you. And now let's take a look at some of the front panel front panel connectors as well as top panel. So here is your 20-pin USB 3.0 header that you plug onto your motherboard. So glad that I'm not seeing too many pass-through cables these days. And then you also get your power hard drive reset connectors right here. Now let's move around to the drive side, shall we? So like I said, these two drives are removable as well as the bottom bracket. So this is just a really customizable case. And let's go ahead and remove the cages by taking off these thumb screws. And this is pretty awesome. I mean, sometimes they're like riveted down, so you know, you can't really do much about it. And if you wanted more airflow, tough luck. Although this is just amazing, just so amazing. Now, as for the bottom bracket, I'll probably remove that later because I will need a screwdriver for that when I like take apart most of this case. But first, let's take a look at the drives. So they just go ahead and slide out like this. And each one of these drives, they house 3 drive sleds. Now, each of these drive sleds, you can include a 3.5-inch drive or 2.5-inch drive, and there's even instructions on how to install your 3.5-inch. So let's go ahead and open that up. Pretty easy, right? And then install your drive, and there you have it. But I'm pretty sure you still have to screw in your 2.5-inch drive. Alrighty, so you get 6 of them. So 6 3.5-inch drive mounts and 6 2.5-inch drive mounts, and of course you get the 2 here, but without the bracket, it's really just 7 2.5-inch drive mounts. Let's go ahead and slide this baby out too. Ah, ta-da! And I do like it. The drive cages, made of metal, some plastic, but what I like is also, now which side is it on? Oh, here it is. Okay, on the side of the drive cages, you can also install one 120mm fan, as well as a second one here. So 2 more fan options for you. How cool is that? I mean, look at this case, just wow, blew me away. No wonder it was so popular and people were like, do a review of it. But anyway, like I said, you can remove this, but I'll show you in a bit, like after I take everything apart. One last gem on the right side of the PC case is this little fan hub right here. This is a PWM hub, and you can connect up to 6 fans. Right now, the front and the rear fans are currently connected. And also, what is this funky little contraption? Anyway, they're recommending that you plug this into the CPU socket on your fan socket on your motherboard. And so what this does is when you connect it to the CPU fan socket, the motherboard allows you to control the fans via the PWM function, even though these are 3-pin connectors, and you're going to get power via this SATA connector and plug this into your power supply. Okay, and they warn that if you plug this connector into any other 4-pin socket on your motherboard, I guess it won't register that signal, the PWM signal, and then what happens is that your fans would just run at full speed. So they're just saying, please plug this into the CPU socket, fan socket on your motherboard. And now for a look at the interior of the case, but something I wanted to mention, fingerprint magnet, no bueno. Alrighty, let's move this aside. On the inside, like I have mentioned before, here is the panel. This is metal, pretty sturdy actually design, and it's not only for aesthetics because it covers up your drive cages if you do happen to use those, but also it's to help support the case so it's not all wobbly and all that. And up here at the top are your this is toolless mechanism for installing your 5.25-inch drives. I actually do like this. It's like it's easy to push in, and it's not like if I pull it off, it's, you know, I'm ripping something off. And let's move on to this side. Not too much to talk about on the interior except for there is that 140mm fan. The one last thing I really noticed in here is the power supply shroud. And this is pretty awesome because it hides your power supply if it's unsightly, I suppose, and hides the cables too. And they even included this rubber grommet here for you, and really they have thought of just about like everything for this case. And what Phanteks has created 2 cases so far, I think. Alrighty, and let's go over the clearance because I always do that. So for your graphics card, you can include a length of 347 millimeters or 13.6 inches with the hard drive cages installed. Now without the hard drive cages, it's 472 millimeters or 18.5 inches, which is plenty of room for like pretty much every card out there. And for your CPU cooler height, it will be 193 millimeters. And also, like the cable routing area for the power supply, 39 millimeters. And radiator clearance, 65 millimeters to your motherboard. And now I'm going to disassemble the case. I'm going to take off the screws for the top, for the panel here, for this section here, as well as the bracket here for the 5¼ inch drives. Oh yes, and this on the bottom here. So here I go. This is gonna be a fun trip with funny music, hopefully. There you have it, modern art. No, but seriously, I love how you could take off pretty much every piece, but of course there are some pieces that they use rivets for. I don't know why. I mean, if they allow you to to take apart all of these parts, why can't we, take apart the bottom here, and the front piece and all that. But with it disassembled, what's great is you could mod it to your heart's content, paint it, burn it. Whatever you want. It's just so much easier this way, right? Alrighty, now I am going to go over some of the parts that I took off. This is the panel that went over here. And this screw, because of the position of it, right here, and because there's this little piece here, it's really hard to get to, so I just don't bother with taking this little bar off completely. I just take it off the other end. Now, here is the power supply shroud, what it looks like. Metal. I love how much metal is in this case. I mean, seriously, for the money, that's amazing. Now, also, here is do be careful of the cables though, because they are connected. Here is the bay for the ports, and then the 5¼ inch drive bay right here. It's also real once it's taken apart. And let's go to the back here. Last but not least, this is the top piece. Also careful, there is the cable connected to it, and that just goes on like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and put everything back now. So fun, so fun. And now for pros and cons, because there's just so much to say about this case. First off is pros. I really love how customizable it is, how many parts you can take apart. You know, it's amazing for like, it's like a modder's dream at a very affordable, like $100 price tag. And also you get so much metal too, like the panels, of course, as well as the hard drive cover, and what else? The 5¼ inch bays, I believe, and even the bracket for the 2.5-inch drive. And you also get a fan hub that gives you PWM functions, which is, I mean, like, what in the world? And also, look, I love this bay cover. That's amazing. It's like, you know, so dust doesn't get in it. You don't accidentally press a reset button. It's just amazing. And even the plastic area, it's great because it's like, it's made to look like brushed metal. But really, that would be, well, I mean, also they included 200mm fan in the front and 140 in the back, which is always a plus, right? Because not all cases include fans. But what do I not like about it? So let's talk about the cons. This is a fingerprint magnet. Just do this, and like, it's like, oh look, finger art on my case. But yeah, so I don't like that, but obviously, you know, for the price, I'm willing to, like, you know, look past that. And also the windows, they're kind of very cheap because like they get scuffed up really easily, and I accidentally dropped the panel, and so there's like this scratch across it. But what I mean is, like, it's, you know, it's not the best material, but, and for a window, that's kind of important, right? Because that's what you're looking at to look into your components, so I would have liked that to be a little better material. But as to the other cons, what else? You know, honestly, I don't really have too many cons about this case. Maybe some of the brackets are, well, this one piece back here is a little bit loose, and trying to unscrew the screws from the bottom is a little bit of work, but honestly, that's not really too bad. Oh, and I do need to jump back to the pros 1 second. I need to mention how much water cooling potential this case has. That makes me very happy. Well, that wraps it up for this review of the Phanteks Enthoo Pro full tower computer case. I mean, this is a beast, okay? And like, I really, really want to build in it, except for what I did to the window, but anyway, it's a really, really fun case. Like, when I got it, I was like, oh, what's so special about this case? Oh my god, it's amazing, is my reaction. I mean, is my reaction. Anyway, so if you like what you saw and you want to see more, go ahead and hit the like, comment, and subscribe button. Please tell me what you have to say, because I'm pretty sure you're looking forward to this review too. So, and I took your advice, yeah. Usually when you tell me, hey, can you do a review of this? I go, budget, okay, yes. Anyway, and also please follow me on social media, JoanneTechLover Facebook fan page, JoanneFoodLover Twitter, and twitch.tv/whaletume, where I game stream with Tim weekly. Also, don't forget to donate, please, so you can help expand this channel and feed this techie, so I can bring more cool stuff you want to see like this. I want to talk about stuff like this more. And also, one last thing is please check out Storenvy.com for my 8.5 by 11-inch autograph prints. Go ahead and take a look, purchase whatever floats your boat. I guess all that's left to say is mwah, goodbye.